The supernatural silence of Calvary. A new day dawns in Jerusalem, a day unlike any other. Different because it would change the pages of history, alter the measure of time itself, and mark forever the boundary between before and after. On the top of a barren hill known as Golgotha, the place of the skull, the world witnessed the most impactful event in human history. It was Calvary, the stage of the death of the innocent, the place where the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world would die. It was the scene where the Creator of the universe surrendered himself in silence to save his own creation, to fulfill the mission of grace, to forgive all humanity. That day the sky grew dark at noon, the sun seemed to hide its face, and a supernatural silence covered the earth. The noise of the crowds faded away, even the wind seemed to stop. Something invisible, yet powerful, filled that heavy air. It was the silence of Calvary. That silence was not the absence of sound. It was the presence of the divine. It was the silence that precedes redemption. While the crowd mocked him, while a crown of thorns was pressed upon his head, while the soldiers cast lots for his garments and the leaders ridiculed him, the Son of God endured it all in quietness. No word of hatred, no curse. Only the sound of forgiveness. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Calvary was not just a historical event. It was the moment when heaven and earth met in the mystery of the cross. Spiritual forces, unseen by human eyes, moved around that wooden beam. Angels looked on in silence. Demons trembled in despair, and all creation seemed to hold its breath. It was a moment of doubt and uncertainty for those who followed him, especially for his family. There were indeed voices on that hill, the cries of the crowd, the weeping of the women, the creaking of the crosses being raised. Yet none of these could outweigh the weight of that sacred silence. Because in truth Calvary speaks. Calvary shows everything. But it speaks without words. It communicates the deepest love, the severest justice, and the most incomprehensible grace. All at once. The silence of Calvary is the silence of one who could have spoken and changed destiny, but chose to remain silent to fulfill a greater purpose. It is the silence of the Lamb who did not open his mouth before his shearers. It is a silence that is not weakness but strength, not abandonment but obedience, not defeat but victory, not supremacy or domination but humility. And when Jesus finally cried out, "It is finished," that silence was broken, not with despair but with triumph. The veil of the temple was torn, the earth trembled, and access to God was opened forever. The supernatural silence of Calvary gave way to the sound of redemption. From that moment on, humanity would never be the same. Today, when the world seems noisy, confused, and lost, Calvary still invites the human heart to be still, to stand in silence before the cross, to see grace in the cross of Christ. Because sometimes God speaks most clearly when everything else grows quiet. And it is in that silence, the same supernatural silence that once enveloped Golgotha, that the voice of God can be heard again. We hope that as you listen to this powerful story, your heart may be restored and transformed by the blood shed on the cross of Christ. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us a like and subscribe to the channel. That way we'll bring you the next story soon. Vitrine Biblica will always be with you.